What's the crack? It's your boy Teriyaki. Things are happening, K-Dog. They are happening indeed. What's the crack? It's your boy Teriyaki back at it again for another episode of the Deductionist Files. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. Welcome into the raid. Gotta play the clip. Welcome in, and because it's the Deductionist Files, in order to deduce, one must be logical.
Well, hang on, stop. Let's start with this. What are the three laws of logic? What are they? No, don't look them up. What are the three laws of logic?
Do you think this is an inconclusive
What are the three
statement?
laws of logic? There's three. What are they?
I don't fucking know.
You don't know the fucking laws of logic, dude.
All right.
No, all right, dude.
Anyways.
I don't know where. You don't even know the three laws of logic. This is fucking crazy. You're fucking crazy,
do you
bro.
want to ask Speakeasy if he knows?
Yeah, it's the law of identity, the law of non-contradiction, and the law of the excluded middle.
His name is John C.
Anything else, dipshit?
Shout out to the one and only Speakeasy. Ashanti's going, who the fuck is this guy? Up you tick. I appreciate you, Shanti. Like I said, I got a fresh cup, but I'm going to hold off on that, you know what I'm saying? Have it as a little bit of surprise for VK, you know what I'm saying? It's looking fresh, and also the new hairstyle is inspired by the one and only Speakeasy as well. If you notice, Easy has like a new kind of thumbnail for when he does like the cross enemy lines. So if you check out the hairstyle I have in that one, of something similar. So again, shout out to Easy for that as well. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. Good evening, my dear viewers. Welcome to another episode of the Deductionist Files. I'm Teriyaki, consulting detective for this evening, master of deduction and pursuer of truth where respectable facades conceal darker shadows. Tonight, we journey north to the quiet communities near CBF Trenton in Ontario, Canada. In early 2010, two women vanished from their homes under mysterious circumstances. One is a respected member of the military community, the other a young civilian whose disappearance sends ripples of fear through the countryside. A high-ranking officer steps forward to assist the investigation, calm and cooperative. Yet small inconsistencies appear. Tire tracks that match too perfectly, footprints in the snow that tell a silent tale, and a pattern of nocturnal intrusions that grows even more sinister. Multiple threads present themselves: a random predator stalking the area, disgruntled subordinate, or perhaps someone closer to the military establishment itself. We shall examine the evidence methodically, as Holmes himself would, but pulling each thread until the web reveals its true architect. Stay sharp, my friends. The game is afoot once more. And if you want to join the panel with the Deductionist, we need to hit the $50 goal, so give you guys a little bit of incentive there. But without further ado, let the enigma unfold. My dear companions, let us begin by painting the full picture of this perplexing enigma. For the devil, as always, resides in the details. And the details here are many, layered, and misleading. In the quiet village of Tweed, Ontario, and the surrounding areas near the bustling CBF Trenton military base, a shadow had been creeping for years. Starting as early as 2007, residents reported a string of bizarre break-ins. Homes were entered while occupants slept or were away. Nothing of great monetary value was taken. Instead, the intruder focused on women's lingerie, underwear, bras, panties, and sometimes shoes or bathing suits. Also, shout out to Shazzy with the £10. Let me give you a little bit of Pepe for that one. Pepe's like my Watson. You know what I'm saying? For the deduction file, Pepe's like Watson. Pepe's got his L notebook out. You know what I'm saying? He's taking notes of the case and everything. Follow along. In many cases, the thief would photograph himself wearing the stolen items in degrading poses, then carefully arrange or return some of the garments. Over 80 such incidents were eventually linked, stretching from Tweed to the Ontario suburb of Orleans. Some homes were revisited multiple times, one poor resident as many as 9 times. The crimes felt personal, voyeuristic. The crimes felt personal and voyeuristic. In one chilling instance near a cottage on Cozy Cove Lane, the intruder targeted a neighbor's home and even photographed himself with the young girl's underwear. These were not typical burglaries for profit. They carried the stench of a deep, compulsive fetish. Police dubbed the pattern the work of a Tweed creeper, a nocturnal prowler who moved with eerie precision, often on weekends, leaving minimal traces but growing bolder. Then, into September 2009, the shadow darkened dramatically. On the 17th, a young mother in Tweed was attacked in her own home while her infant daughter slept nearby. She was bound, blindfolded, assaulted, and photographed. Just 2 weeks later, on the 30th, another woman, Laurie Massacott, suffered a similar horrifying ordeal in her Tweed residence. Both victims describe a calm, methodical attacker who seemed familiar with the layout of their homes. Panic rippled through the small community. Was this the work of a local sex offender with a grudge? Police had several names on their radar. Men with prior records for voyeurism, minor assaults, or domestic issues in the Tweed and Belleville areas. One neighbor in particular drew early scrutiny. A man living close to the Cozy Cove cottage, whose property was searched for stolen lingerie and digital devices. Whispers spread quickly in the tight-knit village. He was ostracized and some residents avoiding him entirely. Could a disgruntled local with knowledge of the back roads be responsible? Meanwhile, in the military community around CBF Trenton, another layer of suspicion emerged. Corporal Marie-France Comeau, a 38-year-old flight attendant stationed at the base, was found dead in her Brighton home on November 25, 2009. She had been brutally beaten, bound, sexually assaulted over hours, and asphyxiated. The crime scene was horrific, duct taped, signs of prolonged struggle, and evidence of photography or videotaping. Comeau had flown with high-ranking personnel and was well known in base circles. Initial theories abound. Perhaps a stalker from her personal life, a jealous colleague, or a subordinate with access to the base schedules, or even an insider with military grudge. Someone who knew her routines and could have moved undetected near the base. Police issued cautious statements, noting no immediate threat to public safety, which only fueled speculation that the killer might be someone already known to authorities or embedded in the community. Then came the disappearance of 27-year-old Jessica Lloyd on January 28th, 2010. The young woman lived in a rural home near Belleville. She was last seen on her treadmill. The next day, she failed to appear at work. Her home showed signs of forced entry, struggle, and possible abduction. Fresh snow preserved critical evidence, distinctive tire tracks leading to and from her property, and boot prints that suggested a deliberate, careful intruder. With 2 murders and prior assaults now potentially linked, the red herrings multiplied. Could this be the work of a transient predator roaming the highways between Ottawa and Trenton? Road checkpoints and ride programs were set up, stopping hundreds of vehicles. Some pointed fingers at military personnel with access to restricted areas or unusual schedules. Others wondered about copycats after the first assault made local news, albeit delayed. Might someone have imitated the Tweed Creeper pattern to cover a personal motive against Lawyer to come out. Even the victim's own circles came under quiet examination. Friends, ex-partners, co-workers, anyone with opportunity or hidden motive. In small towns and tight military communities, rumors travel fast. Financial disputes, romantic entanglements, or long-simmering resentments. One theory suggests the attacks were targeted at women connected to the base, implying an insider with detailed knowledge of personal movements. Another floated the idea of a sophisticated ring or multiple perpetrators coordinating the fetish burglaries and escalating to violence. A high-ranking officer from the base, calm, cooperative, and seemingly above reproach, even offered assistance early in the probe, providing background on base security and personnel. His demeanor was professional, his alibi seemingly solid at first glance. Why would anyone suspect such a decorated figure? Yet, as tire tracks and boot prints from Lloyd's property were analysed, and as patterns from earlier break-ins were cross-referenced, small inconsistencies began to whisper. The footprints in the snow refused to lie, but whose shoes made them? The tire threads matched a specific vehicle type common in the area, yet narrowed the field only gradually. My suspect board grows crowded with possibilities: the ostracized neighbor, local sex offenders with fetish records, disgruntled military subordinates, a random highway predator, copycat assailants, or even someone exploiting the chaos for personal gain. Which thread is mere misdirection and which leads to the heart of the shadow? Observe carefully, my friends. The absence of certain evidence can be as telling as its presence. The dog that did not bark at a stranger. The lack of forced entry in some homes suggesting familiarity, the delayed public warnings that left women vulnerable. These are the curious incidents we must weigh before we turn the record of recorded interactions with authorities. Let us proceed methodically, for in haste we risk missing the footprint that betrays the true architect of darkness. So, we get into the initial body cam footage. Oh wait, no, shit, sorry. My bad. So, un momento, por favore. My mom took Tylenols, okay? So, we're straight into, there's no body cam footage, that was my bad. But we do have the interrogation footage, and ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a shocking one. And we do have $5 on the PayPal from our boy Dart. One sec, let me give you a little bit of a money clip for that one. Thank you very kindly, Darth. And we got enough out there with the $2 saying a toonie. The $2, the $2 Canadian dollars. Appreciate you kindly, sir. But let's get into it. Who do we think? Who do we think it is, folks? Let me know in chat.
You just have a seat here, Russ. The guy I was speaking with on whatever night that was Russ as well.
Oh, yeah.
And he took every number I had.
Yeah, no, they were doing some pretty thorough interviews that night. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great. Glad to see it.
I'm just going to move your gloves here. That's a little microphone, just to make sure there's nice and clear. As you can see here, everything in this room is videotaped and audio taped.
Check.
You ever been interviewed by the police in a room like this before?
I have never been interviewed like this.
Oh, no? Okay.
No.
Let's get this set up there.
I guess the closest to
Another toonie.
NIS for top secret clearance.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, again, Russell, I appreciate you coming in. An investigation like this, I mean, I'm sure you can appreciate it's been big news, especially down Belleville way. And, you know, obviously our approach to cases like this is that we don't give up on somebody being alive until we get evidence that they're not. So because of that, we're treating Jessica's case as an emergent situation, obviously.
Yeah.
So we're fast forwarding things that we might normally take our time with. And that's why we're here on a Sunday afternoon. So again, I appreciate it. We're going to do a pretty thorough interview today. Okay. And the reason for that is because the last thing we want is to be calling people back again and again and again. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over a number of things, and I'm going to explain what all those are to you. Okay. I'm a big coffee guy. I don't know if you're a coffee guy or
I am
not,
a
but I
coffee
didn't
guy,
want to drink
yeah.
in front of you. So
No, I appreciate that.
all right, go ahead.
I could definitely, are they black?
Yeah, they're just black with sugar.
Appreciate you, Voltaire.
Sergio, what's right?
Gum, just
Oh,
first
okay.
piece of gum.
Well, there's napkins there if you want to toss it or whatever.
I appreciate that.
All right, and again, like I said, this interview is going to be very thorough. But again, I have a simple rule when I talk to people. It's I'm sure you're the same way. I treat everybody with respect. I don't want to ask if they do the same for me. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by going through what your rights are. Okay? Just like everybody else. Okay. Have you ever been read your rights before?
No.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen it on TV a whole bunch of times, but that's usually the American version. So I'll go over it with you briefly. Okay. Basically, in Canada, as you know, I'm sure, is we all have our rights guaranteed under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Right.
Okay. Now, Russell, just to avoid any confusion, because people do get confused when they're talked to by the police, is that you're obviously not under arrest here today. Okay.
Yep.
Anytime you feel you want to leave here, you feel free to do so. The door's not locked. Teresa will walk you down the lobby anytime you want. Okay. If there's anything that comes up in our interview today, Russell, that you feel you want to talk to a lawyer about, you just let me know. Okay.
Sure.
And the reason for that is I want to explain to you exactly what's going on here. Okay. Jessica Lloyd is one of 4 cases that we're currently investigating. Okay.
Right.
And essentially what's happened is over the past about 4 or 5 months, there have been 4 occurrences that, like I said, that we're looking into. 2 of those occurrences occurred in September of 2009. And very briefly, they were up in the Tweed area. They involved somebody entering 2 different women's houses in the evening hours and committing sexual acts. Okay. In November of 2009, a young lady by the name of Marie-France Como
My people.
was found murdered in her home in Brighton. And we believe that there was a sexual component to that crime as well. And then most recently we have Jessica Lloyd's disappearance. Okay, so essentially when you're looking at those kind of crimes, we're looking at a number of different potential criminal charges. All right, we're looking at issues all the way from the most serious one, which is first-degree murder, kidnapping, sexual assault, break and enter with intent to commit sexual assault, forcible confinement. Okay, and so what I want to make sure you understand, and this is what we've been doing with everybody we've been talking to, is that clearly when we find out who's responsible for one or all of those crimes, they could be charged with one or all of those offenses. Okay, whether it's you or whether it's anybody else. All right. And that's why it's important that we make sure that people understand what they have to do and what they don't have to do when they're talking to us. Okay? So as I said before, any point today you feel the need, you want to speak to a lawyer, you let me know, and we can take you to a room where you can do that in private. Okay? Do you have your own lawyer?
I have a realty lawyer, but
Okay.
no, I don't have a lawyer.
All right. If at any point you want to make that call and you don't know who to call, we have a phone list of lawyers that are available to give you advice free of charge right over the phone. Okay. So again, if at any point today you want to take advantage of that, you just let me know.
Sure.
Is there any reason you want to call a lawyer now?
Nope.
Okay. A couple other fairly simple and straightforward things that you probably understand, but again, we go over them to make sure everybody's clear, is that you don't have to speak to me today. Okay? And the reason for that is because the law considers me to be what we refer to as a person of authority. Okay? Probably similar to what you may be considered to be on the base. And because of that, I can be compelled to appear before any judge in the country, basically, to account for what takes place here today between you and I. Okay? And that's the reason why everything's recorded. Because there can't be any more accurate record than that, right? So.
No, understood.
And the other thing I want to make sure you understand is that, you mentioned a second ago about Ms. Como being one of your work associates. So I don't know what's happened since November on the military side of things. But what we want to make people clear on is that if you have been spoken to by any person in authority or any police officer about any of those cases,
want to bring up the important question here or statement from Shante. Says, I'll never understand why people speak without their lawyers, because especially if you're, let's say, not necessarily the actual like guilty party in the accused or potentially accused crime, you oftentimes people will get into the mindset of, oh, I don't want to appear guilty, so I don't want to do anything that might actually kind of like put eyes on me or unwanted attention and all this kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? So like that's generally kind of like the aspect here. And that's what this detective does a very brilliant job of doing, like taking his time to kind of like make sure he's kind of like not necessarily like going over the top with it, but like taking his time and just kind of like restating this whole thing. Oh, listen, if you do want to talk to a lawyer, if you do want to go over anything and all this stuff, you like these are all your rights and all this kind of stuff. And if you picked up on the initial thing of this particular guy, he does seem to have some sort of a nervous twitch going on, whereas his head will like jerk or kind of like body will kind of like twitch and all this kind of stuff. Particularly where, like, again, this detective has done a really good job of kind of saying, like, you know, and we'll kind of see it through the video where it's kind of like he's playing like the good cop, bad cop, like almost like every second sentence. You know what I mean? He'll kind of like give him the kind of like the friendly sentence, and then he'll kind of hit him with the bad cop sentence, or kind of at least kind of like try to hint at something, and then go back and forth. You know what I mean? Dante says, I don't give a fuck how guilty or innocent I am. Never. I know why they do. They're overly confident and stupid. I just don't get it. Like I said, it's particularly in the guilty party's case, they want to say, hey, I'm with you guys. That, like, a lot of people will kind of they'll go down the line of saying like either like joining in the investigation or trying to look as helpful as possible and like say, oh, I'm one of you guys and all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? Which is typically a bad strategy if you're the guilty party, because a strategy that like a lot of detectives will do is like they'll put it on you and they'll say, oh, if you want to help out, well, if you could really help us out here, you know, like, how do you think that this would have happened? How do you think that would have happened? Can you put this together for us? We're just, you know, we're dumbfounded. You know what I mean? Can you explain this to us? And in last week's show, that was typically a thing that was basically the dude's undoing, where there was just so many contradictions and so much different things going on that, like, fundamentally, to say that you were thinking a lot about this in the one hand, and then when you're in the interrogation, all of a sudden you're now saying, well, I've thought a lot about this and like this must be the answer. But then there's the contradiction that if they do this one thing, then what about the opposite thing, you know? Yeah, and they always talk themselves into a hole. It's hard to think you can appear innocent when you know you're not. Just go with the lawyer regardless. That's a safe bet. But the other thing is price point as well. You know? Like, if you had the money to have a lawyer on retainer and all this kind of stuff, it could work. But, you know, I know what you're saying. It's just dumb to think. True that, Shante. But let's get into it.
I don't want what they may have said to you to make you feel influenced or compelled to say anything to me today, okay? Whatever you might have felt influenced or compelled to say to them earlier, you don't have to repeat it to me, and you don't have to say anything further, okay? But obviously what you do say, you know, for the third time is being recorded, right? So...
Understood. These first two attacks happened not that far from my place in Tweed. Well, the second one did.
Yeah.
We didn't even know the first one had happened, but I understand that was reasonably close as well. But the second one was very close.
Yeah.
So certainly at the time, Joe PP did a door-to-door.
Yeah.
And, within a couple of days, probably the same night. So I spoke with a couple of guys then.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm aware of that from looking at the different cases. And essentially, Russell, in a nutshell, that's what we wanted to talk to you about. Okay, those four cases are of concern to us, and you know, you've kind of almost hit the nail on the head about some of our issues that kind of make us want to talk to Russell Williams. Okay, because essentially there was a connection between you and all four of those cases. Would you agree? Geographically,
And then I guess
or
I drive past, yes, I would
Yeah.
have to say there's a connection, yeah.
yeah, and that's why I'll be quite frank with you. That's why things kind of evolved when the officers talked to you on Thursday night.
Okay.
We kind of went from there because when I think you discussed with them the fact that you were a colonel
Yeah.
at the base.
I was in uniform at the time, so.
Yeah, so pretty obvious, right?
Yeah.
So essentially, then the connection with Miss Como
Yeah.
was made, and I believe you're a door or two down from one of those two incidents
think,
in Tweed.
3 doors down, yeah.
Yeah.
Very close, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So those are some of the issues we wanted to discuss with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So just getting back to these.
So notice that like he has this like very, very good strategy of kind of like applying the heat and then like taking it off kind of thing, where it's like, well, clearly you're connected. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, by your own words and all this kind of stuff, and we know this about you, all this kind of stuff. And it's just these issues that we just want to discuss with you today. You know what I mean? It's like the typical thing that to give like an example, like for the dudes, where it's like the girls that will kind of constantly lead you on and all this kind of stuff, just to get free shit out of you and all this stuff. They'll be like, well, I just want to be friends for now. You know what I mean? Like throwing in that extra bit that just kind of gives you that little bit of hope. That kind of like I said, doesn't make you instantly freak out or all of a sudden say, okay, this guy's he's figured it out. I need to now tap dance my way out of this. Somehow manage to tap dance my way out of this.
4 incidents that we're talking about.
And there's the nervous twitch. You know what I mean? So it's like it basically puts them in like this kind of like cognitive dissonance where they're between, like the mind can't really focus on a lie to tell when you're kind of stuck between trying to figure out, wait, does this dude actually know everything or does he not know everything? You know what I mean? And that's what you're seeing here with the nervous twitch. Watch the head boom.
So just getting back to these 4 incidents that we're talking about, maybe you could just give me a little bit of history as to your arrival in the base in Trenton. When did you start working there?
Friday on the day I was Friday on the day I was at home most of the time. Most of the day I had a sort of a stomach flu.
Okay. In Ottawa or Tweed?
In Tweed.
In Tweed? Okay.
Yeah.
So we backtrack then. So all day Friday, you're at home.
Yeah.
And then what time do you leave to go to the base to sleep there on the Friday night?
Not sure. Probably just, went in for just before bed. So I probably left Tweed at between 8 and 9 or so.
Okay. And you get to the base and spend the evening there and get up for the 5:30?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
So we backtrack from there. When did you arrive at your home at the cottage? I don't want to get confused between your home in Ottawa and the home in Tweed.
Understood.
So,
No, I had been in Tweed all week.
yeah.
The week prior now. Yeah, I think that's the case. Was in Tweed all week. Flew Saturday. Headed to Ottawa Saturday night.
Okay. So if you didn't have the stomach flu on the Friday, what was your
I think
schedule
it was
that
like
day?
8, really.
Okay.
What would have been my schedule? Just a standard schedule in the office.
Okay.
So, ops brief in the morning, couple of meetings. I can't remember what the specifics were going to be.
Okay. So Thursday night you slept at Tweed, or you?
Yep.
All right. And what did you do Thursday during the day?
Thursday during the day, I was at the base again. I think it was a fairly standard day. I can't recall exactly, but yeah, nothing. I was not flying, so I was at the base. So I would have gone in early in the morning, back in the evening again.
Okay. Do you remember what time you left the base that night?
I don't remember anything peculiar, so I would say I don't know, probably 7 to 9, somewhere in that range.
Okay. And that's when you left.
Left the base, yeah.
And what
That's a
was
45-minute transit. So
45 minutes home?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to walk you through November, but I'm going to take you to a date that's probably pretty fresh in your mind, the day that Marie-France coma. Do you remember how you found out?
I do. Yeah, I was sent an email. Well, as soon as the ops staff and the base learned, they told me.
Okay.
So I got an email. I can't remember if it was late at night or early in the morning. It was certainly, I saw it, I want to say first thing in the morning, because I had just come back from Ottawa. I was in Ottawa for a set of meetings on one of the days. I can't remember what day of the week we're talking about, but yeah, no, I mean, obviously when your people gets killed, it gets your attention. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I very much remember that coming in.
And how did you know Marie-France coma?
I'd only met her once. She was on a crew I was on just after I got to the base.
Okay.
So I can't even remember. I think it was a one-day trip. I did a number of trips in Canada transporting our troops, sort of first leg out of Edmonton. We tend to hopscotch them across until they get into theater. So anyway, I can't remember which trip it was, but we did a number of them out to Edmonton just to pick up the troops, bring them to Trenton, and then put a fresh crew on, and because we'd fly out and back in the same day, so pushing the edge of that, and fresh crew on, and they'd continue on after a couple hour delay.
Okay. Do you know roughly when that happened?
So we were on the same crew?
The time you met her, the one time there, yeah?
It was soon after I got to the base, so I don't remember exactly, but I would say in the first couple of months, so August, September.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you got that email notifying you that something had happened.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of a clear recollection as to how your schedule was going that week?
Well, I can't remember what day that the message came in. Just a second. No, I can't remember what day of the week, but I'm just thinking there was a whole bunch of activity spun up as a result, obviously. No, I can't remember the day of the week. I'm just trying to think through the news reports I read. No, I'm sorry, I can't remember what day that was, but what we learned after the fact was that the MPs had learnt of her death, I think quite a bit after her body had been discovered.
Okay.
So I think what happened, I'm sorry, just a second. Okay. So I think, if I remember correctly, the MPs learned late that evening. Can't remember when, obviously her body was discovered. It was probably in the news reports. But so they learned, and then they passed it to ops. So they immediately passed it to me.
Okay.
The MPs work for the wing operations officer, so they go through their chain of command, and then as soon as the duty to watch officer had that information, she advised me.
Okay. So again, that particular
along
week.
with some others.
Right. I'm sure it spread like wildfire.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that particular week, do you have any recollection? Well, for instance, when you got the email,
Yeah.
do you remember where you were?
I was at home in Tweed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember if that was a week that you were reasonably stable in Trenton, or had you flown?
No,
over
I
there?
had been in Ottawa. Earlier in the week.
Now notice the change up again in the body language, where again the arms are crossed, and if you notice, his head done a little tilt there because detective basically kind of like hit him with again masterfully one of these things where he hits him with like, oh no, like you were actually here. And then he does the head tilt again. It's like, wait, why are you asking me all these like questions of where I was, timeline, all this kind of shit, and now you're telling me where I was? You know what I mean? So let's just go back here.
Yeah.
Do you remember where you were?
I was at home in Tweed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember if that was a week that you were reasonably stable in Trenton, or had you flown?
No,
over
I
there?
had been in Ottawa. I had been in Ottawa early in the week.
And now he's completely changed in terms of his like, oh, I couldn't really remember schedule here. Couldn't really remember this time. I'm not really sure. Don't really know what I was doing in around the key dates of the case. You know what I mean? And now all of a sudden, no, I was definitely here. Indicates deception. Exactly, pseudo.
For some meetings over in Gatineau for one of the, it's actually for the C-17 acquisition. I was project director when I was here in Ottawa for that, so just some follow-up stuff for that.
Okay.
So I had been here at some point in that week. Again, I can't remember how the days all fell together, but I seem to remember that I got this word shortly after having come back from Ottawa. It seems to me it was the same week.
So if we were to do a similar investigation in your background, is there anything you can think of that anybody may have misinterpreted, or anything in your history that somebody might say?
And again,
Russell
notice
Williams-
now he's back to kind of chill guy, leaning back and all this kind of stuff. So again, kind of because there was basically a skip forward there. Again, the detective as well, kind of like sitting back and kind of like more relaxed. He's basically kind of like eased up a bit. You know what I mean? Because as soon as you see the arms getting across and all this kind of stuff, that's when you should generally just kind of like ease back up, let him kind of like get comfortable, all this kind of shit. Sit back, maybe put the legs up. Hey, we're just buddies, guy. I'm your friend, pal. All this kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? And now we're going to see him go in again.
Absolutely.
Did this?
No.
Okay.
Be very boring.
What's that?
It'll be very boring.
All right, because essentially that's what I'm looking at. Is it? You seem like a very intelligent person, and I think you can see how a surprise like that would certainly set off
Absolutely.
some alarm bells in our investigation, right? Okay. So the next thing we need to cover off is, I'll just ask you this straight out. Given the types of crimes we're investigating, do you get much chance to watch television shows, CSI, things like that?
I do watch, I prefer Law and Order, but I do watch CSI occasionally, yes.
Okay. So you have an idea of, obviously, the forensic capabilities, things like that are out there. What would you be willing to give me today to help me move past you in this investigation?
What do you need?
Well, would you be willing to supply things like fingerprints, blood samples,
Sure.
things like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Footwear impressions?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think that's what we're gonna ask you to do.
Okay.
All right. Now we have a process we have to go through to do that.
Okay.
And for the blood sample, I don't take the blood sample. We have specially trained officers that are trained to do that.
Okay.
I'm going to step out and make sure they're still available.
Can I assume you're going to be discreet?
And now he's back into the arms folded kind of position. So just to clarify for everybody, he's basically saying, give me the shoes. And notice what he does when he asks him about the shoes. Oh, I think I'm going back too far. Oh, shit. One sec.
I don't take the blood sample. We have specially trained officers that are trained to do that.
Okay.
I'm going to step out and make sure they're still available.
Now he's back into the arms folded. All right. And again, detective as well. Note the detective's position as well. He's kind of like there, like looking down, all this kind of stuff. But when he mentioned the footwear impressions, the dude like basically was already saying yes as he was looking down. But again, his mind went to a kind of double check. Am I wearing the shoes that I was wearing when those footprints were found in the snow?
Can I assume you're going to be discreet?
It's possible. Yeah.
Because, this would have a very significant impact on the base if they thought you thought I did this.
Well, bottom line, Russell, that's one of the reasons we're here on a Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
The military certainly be of great assistance to us, especially in relation to Miss Como's investigation.
Mhm.
So that's certainly one of the things that went into our decision to give you a call at home today and see if we could deal with this today.
Okay.
So, okay.
Because it's tough to undo the rumor mill once it gets started. but I appreciate that.
Okay. Now that you've had some time to, I mean, I know we've been throwing a lot of things at you here, but now you've had some time to think about things. Is there anything that you're concerned about that buckle swab matching in any of those 4 residences? Is there, I guess, let me explain what I'm getting at here, Russell, okay? This is a significant investigation, as you can well imagine.
Yeah.
That DNA is going to be significant in our investigation, both quite possibly to help you, quite possibly to help us.
Understood.
I don't know yet. I don't know what the result is yet.
Mhm.
And I'll go back to the example I gave you because it's a very similar issue, I think. And you talked about the idea of discretion here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about the idea that I think hopefully you appreciate the fact of how we approached you here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And essentially, we have no issues with that. Okay. We talked recently about the whole idea of any unusual sex acts in your history.
Mhm.
But another thing that can often happen in cases like this is that people become concerned about things like extramarital affairs, indiscretions along those lines.
Mhm.
Is there any contact that you may have had with any of those 4 women that you may not want your wife to be aware of? Anything like that that we should know about to try and explain why, if your DNA is found, it would help us understand why it may be there?
Absolutely not.
Can you think of any reason why we would find your DNA in any?
And again, like, bear in mind, like, this dude is basically, as an innocent person, one would be sitting there kind of going, like, wait, what? Saying I'm cheating on my wife? You know what I mean? But then you see the breathe in and then sigh out, kind of going, oh, fuck, you know?
Those residences? Let's focus on, well, for instance, I believe, let me just check the name there, make sure I've got the right address. I'm talking about the house that was just a couple of doors down from you there in Tweed.
A couple of doors down was
the,
Lori. I don't know her last name. I don't know.
Mazzacati?
I don't even know what her last name is, but there's the woman down the road, 3 doors down.
Yep.
Her name is Lori. I don't know her last name.
All right, let me just make sure we're on the same page here. Okay. My understanding is she lived at 76 Cozy Cove. Yeah, so she would be the second one. The second incident on your road there.
Yep.
A couple of doors down. Ever been in her house?
No. We met her once, I think the first summer we were there, so in 04.
Okay, and that's what I'm getting at. Again, this is a credibility issue, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to come and see.
And again, this is the detective is just playing this whole game. It's like just to kind of like ease off the pressure a little bit. He sees that the arms are crossed. He's like, again, I'm just trying to just make sure, just cover my bases. You know how it is. Gotta cross the T's, dot the I's, and then we're gonna see him go back in.
You 2 weeks from now and say, Russ,
Yeah.
our CSI people went in that house, and are you familiar with how DNA works?
I think broadly, yes, I would
Okay.
guess so.
One of the challenges we have in 2010 with DNA is it's become so precise that I guess the best way to explain it is I can think back 15 years ago when I started in violent crime investigation.
Yeah.
For us to get a DNA match, the sample we had to find was, probably would have filled half of one of these cups.
Doesn't.
Because they destroy so much of the sample in the testing.
Okay.
Essentially, DNA has become more and more precise to the point where when you and I walked in this room earlier today,
And he's taking his time just like explaining the process of DNA. Like, you already asked him, like, are you familiar with the DNA process? And the dude's like, yes. Right? And like, if you notice, like, he's kind of like constantly kind of like he's saying, yes, yeah, like come on, like get through it kind of thing. Whereas like he's taking his time now to make this dude sweat over, like, just to think about like how precise DNA is, and just like everybody knows like the DNA evidence, like if that shit, like in the court case, if your DNA is found on the murder weapon, no, even innocent people have been convicted by certain cases, just because their DNA was like in the house or is nearby or all this kind of stuff. So again, the detective is just like, now he's like he's hitting the heat. You know what I mean? Whereas like DNA is very precise. Like back in my day, you know what I mean? They needed like half a cup of DNA evidence. Now they can get you in just like a drop of blood or like even less than a drop of blood. You know what I mean?
We could have sat down, talked for 30 seconds, walked out. CSI officer could have come in 3-4 days from now,
Yeah.
did some swabs here, and he would have found your DNA and my DNA, and probably a lot of other people's DNA.
Sure.
A little bit gross to think about, but essentially, as we talk, a little bit aspirate comes out of our mouth
Yeah, no, I understand.
that contains our DNA, our bloods, or our skin cells contain our DNA,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm getting at. If you were ever in Laurie's residence, quite possibly, quite innocently, your DNA could be in that residence. Has there ever been a time you've been in there?
No.
Okay. What about the other lady down the road on?
I hadn't even heard that name, so no, I don't actually know who that was.
Okay. Have you ever visited Marie France Como at her residence?
No.
Okay. All right. So you're quite positive there would be no reason why your DNA would be any of those
Absolutely.
3 locations. Okay. Did you know Jessica Lloyd even in passing for any reason?
No, I didn't hear her name till it was on the news.
Okay. And the reason I'm asking that is because I know you were asked that question on Thursday night, and sometimes what we find, and again, this is one of those situations that can sometimes cause us to get in a lengthy investigation as somebody that maybe doesn't deserve it. But what can happen sometimes is somebody gets stopped by the police like you did, and they get asked that question, and people, when they're stopped by the police, they can be nervous, okay? So they blurt out an answer, and then they start driving away, and they go, oh, why'd I do that? Because the problem is that once they get asked again, then they feel compelled to maintain that answer for fear that if they change their answer, somebody could find it. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Okay. So I want to make sure that's not happening here. I don't care what you said to the officers on Thursday night last week. If there's any communication or contact between you and Jessica Lloyd, you've seen her picture, right, around town?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Ever seen?
So again, the detective is playing a very coy game here. So he's like, do you get what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like the reason why I keep asking you about like the DNA evidence at these people's homes is that like maybe you gave a wrong answer. Maybe you'd like to change that answer. Now he's not outright accusing him yet, or like even like giving him any facts of the case. You know what I mean? He's holding like this whole kind of like keep them uncertain, keep them uneasy, keep them tense. You know what I mean? That, like I said, playing with that whole mindset of like, is there a potential that like he actually doesn't know and he's just trying to play like these tricks on me and all this kind of stuff, rather than him going, okay, I know he knows, and now I have to like tap dance and like lie like the like my life depends on and all this kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So again, he's playing a very coy game, constantly like going back and repeating himself. Going into like extreme detail over pretty much irrelevant shit like we talked about with the whole like DNA process, and just explain the whole DNA process and all this kind of thing.
Seen her before?
I don't know. I would say I have not.
Okay. All right. All right. And you mentioned something about doing some renovations at your property in Tweed there. I think you said something earlier about tearing up carpet. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Oh yeah.
okay. When did all that happen?
In 2004 or 5.
Okay. Any recent renovations?
No.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure I'm covering all the bases here.
Again, take your time. He's taking his time, letting things sit. We went over that last week as well, where they can use silence as a weapon and all this kind of stuff. And then just like as he's doing, he's looking down, just kind of like say as an offhand, just cover my bases. I'm just covering my bases, bro. Remember, I'm your buddy, guy. I'm your friend, pal. You know?
What kind of tires do you have on your Pathfinder?
Boom. Boom. Like I said, this whole thing, we're going to go back and just watch this segment again. Like this whole like disarm, and then I'm going to turn the heat back up.
All right. Just want to make sure I'm covering all the bases here.
I'm just going to make sure I'm covering my bases here. And then I'm going to hit him with another thing about the tire tracks that we mentioned in the opening statement.
Okay. What kind of tires do you have on your Pathfinder?
I think they're Toyo.
Okay. Do you know the brand name, or sorry, the
I think that
make?
is
And notice the
the
twitches.
make is Toyo.
Yeah.
I don't know the model.
Okay.
where it's like, what do you know about the tire tracks? Wait, there's tire tracks?
I'll read this off to you, see if it rings a bell.
Body jerked.
Ever heard of, does Toyo Open Country HTS
That sounds
make any
right.
sense?
Yeah.
Okay. When did you have those tires put on your Pathfinder?
Well, it's the second version we've had of them, so I think it might have been this past fall. They replaced other ones we'd had on the same.
Okay.
Well, Toyo, I can't say that they were.
Notice like the head jerks and all that kind of stuff. Now pay attention to this shit. This is key body language. He's like, what do you know about, like, why are you bringing up my tire tracks and all this kind of stuff? He can probably put two and two together in his head. Canada's a snowy place. I drove around and those tire tracks were nearby. You know what I mean? So you're again just like turning up the heat in this whole thing of like, and this is why like playing it a certain way, where you're like, I'm just covering my bases. I'm just like, you know, I'm just kind of like this, you know, happy-go-lucky kind of like, oh shucks guy and all this kind of shit. And this is why they like starting with this and not giving anything away. Give them nothing but take from them everything. This whole kind of aspect where I'm just covering my bases, you know. And welcome into Picasso. Welcome into Vintage. It's gonna be a great one. It's gonna be a great one, boys.
Exactly the same model, but our dealership here in Ottawa says they're very popular for the Pathfinder. So
Okay.
I never be.
And then he's basically, oh well, they're very popular tires. You know what I mean? Got to make sure I got some sort of out here. You know.
They last a long time.
All right. I've had to. I think you were talking about the whole idea of the MPs helping us with our investigation, stuff like this. You have the same system as we do at our headquarters with the swipe cards.
Mhm.
One of the things one of our investigators did is they made a call while I was talking to you there because we were trying to work through that week of the 23rd of November.
Okay.
23rd being the Monday, 24th being the Tuesday.
Okay.
What they've told us is that, and I want to make sure I get this right, is that on the 23rd, your swipe card was being used at the base. Okay.
Okay.
On Tuesday 24th, there was no use of your swipe card.
Okay.
And then on the following days, the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there was what appeared to be average activity of your
Okay.
swipe card in the base. Does that make sense to you?
It does. That says that I was in Ottawa on the Tuesday.
Okay. Do you remember where in Ottawa you were?
Yeah, I was in Gatineau with, as I said, meeting about the C-17.
Okay. Now, again, I want to be fair to you here. We're going back 2 months.
Yeah.
Are you sure that would have been the day you were in Ottawa?
Well, only because I wasn't at the base.
Okay.
So I can't remember, honestly, that's the day I had the meeting in Ottawa, but if I wasn't at the base, it was because I was here.
Okay. Now, if that is the day you had a meeting in Ottawa, do you remember being at the base on the Monday, the 23rd, and swiping your card in and out? Do you remember what you would have done that evening to get to Ottawa for that meeting? Like, would it be...
I drove to Ottawa in the morning of the day of my meeting, so if it was the Tuesday, then I would have left Tweed. It was a very foggy morning that morning. I drove in that morning.
Probably the greatest mystery of this whole case, to be fair, boys and girls, is the hairline. Like, I agree with chat. Like, just embrace it at this stage, bro. You know what I mean? Like the biggest question mark is the hairline. That'd be something that like I'd probably be, first question, be like, bro, what are we doing with the hairline? Like who the fuck has a circle for a hairline? But regardless, again, like this is the whole thing. The masterclass where it's like he's hitting him with like going kind of like very kind of like general, I'm just covering my base on this kind of stuff, and then he's like drilling down, kind of like giving the actual date, saying, yeah, we have your, and like it's based kind of reading between the lines of like what the detective is saying but not actually saying. You know what I mean? And this whole aspect of, I'm gonna give you all these details, that we have all the specifics, and the unsaid thing is, bro, we know exactly what your movements are.
Okay.
So I would not have been at the base the day I was in Ottawa, because the meeting started at 8:30 or something.
Okay, so you leave the base, you would have went home to your residence in Tweed,
Yep.
and then you left Tweed in the morning and drove up to your meeting in Ottawa.
Yep.
Okay. You leave the meeting in Ottawa is a daytime meeting, evening meeting, or do you remember?
Yeah, it was a daytime meeting, finished, I don't know, mid-afternoon or so.
Okay.
We had lunch and then finished. I think my wife and I had dinner because she was here for work, and then I headed back.
Okay. Well, these are the kind of things I'm trying to draw out here. That's helpful to us. Do you remember where you had dinner?
Well, I don't remember exactly the restaurant, but
And this is again an irrelevant question. Irrelevant. Or what was the name of the place? Can you remember? You know what I mean? And again, it might seem like it's irrelevant because again, there's multiple reasons why they do this. Again, to disarm them, but also to test. Okay, if you can remember the name of the place, and then you're going to tell me, oh, like you have no idea what you were doing for the whole day, but you remember specifically the restaurant off it. That's where it's kind of like the whole like selective memory kind of aspect to it.
it was in Westboro because that's where our house was being built at the time. So we had dinner, in a restaurant that we would expect to be able to frequent once the house was finished.
Okay. Remember how you paid?
One of us would have paid by MasterCard. Yeah.
Okay. Are you sure about that, or?
Pretty sure. That's normally how we
Okay.
pay for meals.
All right.
Can't remember if it was me or my wife that paid, but one of us.
Okay. And do you remember which restaurant it was again?
No.
Okay. All right. And you see where I'm getting at, right? I mean, that can be very helpful for us because if we can track that issue, right? We can put somebody paying for a meal at a location.
Well, I was meeting with 15 people or so that day. So.
Okay. And what time did the meeting end?
I would say between 3 and 4.
Okay. And are you sure that that's the same day you went out with your wife?
Well, I think so. Yeah, because she was here, and I think that was the day we went to this restaurant in Westboro, yes.
Okay. You finished dinner, and do you remember what you did that evening?
I would have driven back to Tweed.
Okay. And you would have... Now, again, I know we're talking 2 months ago here, but do you remember specifically having dinner and then driving back to Tweed, or do you remember... are you just guessing here?
No, I'm not really guessing. I mean, I believe that this night at this restaurant was following the meetings in Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
And I, kissed my wife goodbye and headed back to Tweed to go to work the next day.
Okay. All right. The tires that you have on your truck, right? The reason I asked you.
And again, he's gone on this long-winded, like what master, what did, like, how did you pay? Like, what was the name of the restaurant? Blah, 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 blah. Back to the tires. This detective is good. Do you know what I mean? And and what I mean by good in that essence is like he gives that impression that he's just like, some sort of like pencil pusher. Like he's kind of like what would be a good word to describe? Kind of he's just, like you're run of the mill, like nothing going on here, nothing to see here, and then bam. And he's doing this kind of like this whole strategy of kind of like asking a bunch of relevant questions, all this kind of, well, not necessarily relevant questions, because as you were saying, like to track movement and all this kind of stuff. But then also, yeah, desk jockey. Thank you for it. Like this kind of like desk jockey. Oh shucks, you know what I mean? Like I just got handed the case. I don't know what's going on. All this kind of shit. But really, he's like playing a game of chess right now, like switching up between like the whole good cop, bad cop, or just kind of like going like cold and just like getting into like a nice relaxed kind of like attitude where it's like, oh, you know, he's asking me questions about, you know, how did I pay, or like did we pay by card and all this kind of stuff, and now boom, like let's go back to the tire tracks. Wait, what? You know what I mean? Very, very nicely done. Very nicely done. Mama.
About that, is there any time? I mean, you recall where you were stopped by the officers there?
Yes.
Okay. Did they explain to you what the significance
So
of
that
the
was her
location?
house.
That was her house.
Yeah.
Okay. So you remember that location?
Yep.
Do you remember what the crossroad was, or?
I don't think there was a crossroad. It's sort of just on the south end of 37.
Okay. When you get stopped at that location, has there been a time in the recent 1 or 2 weeks that your vehicle has left that road for any reason whatsoever? Have you driven into a field with your vehicle at all? For any reason you can think of?
No.
Okay. Because I want you to rack your brain here. This is important. So,
Yeah.
is there anything you
he's
can remember
loaded up the
doing
chamber.
that, you know, would have caused you to drive off the road
No.
at that section of roadway?
No. That's my early. That's the early part of the highway, and just head north. It's about 30 minutes from there to. No, probably 20 from there to my house.
Okay. Would it surprise you to know that when the CSI officers were looking around her property, that they identified a set of tire tracks to the north of her property? Looks as if the vehicle left the road and drove along the north tree line of Jessica Lloyd's property. Okay.
Okay.
They took, they examined those tire tracks. And they have contacts in the tire business. Obviously, tire tracks are a major source of evidence for us.
Sure.
Shortly after this investigation started, they identified those tires as the same tires on your Pathfinder.
Really?
Yeah.
Boom. Hit him with that. Hit him with it. Like I said, load up the chamber and then pull the trigger. Now, already at this point, like an astute detective, like, oh no, sorry, not an astute detective, but like an astute person would be like, why are you asking me these questions? Why ask me about the whole, like, did you pay by card and all this kind of stuff? Like, how does this relate? Because like a normal person has that cognitive ability like freed up. If they're genuinely innocent, you know what I mean? You'd be like, you'd be able to follow the train of the conversation. You know what I mean? But because you're so focused on like that, for lack of a better word, like cognitive bias between am I going to get off or does this dude actually know what's up? You can't actually follow the conversation. You've got too much on your plate, so to speak. So now he's because all he's doing is trying to just focus on the next question, get the story straight, all this kind of shit. And at the same time, like, suss out, like does he actually know? Does he not know? And that confusion and like that switch between ice cold and then turn up the heat and all this kind of stuff the detective's playing has now led basically fundamentally to this part of the interview where you've dropped the bombshell. You've loaded up the chamber and you've now pulled the trigger where it's like, okay, now I'm going to be direct with you and say we have evidence that puts you at the scene of the crime. Let's see how his initial thing is like, really?
Okay.
Okay. One of the other things that they do to try and identify the type of vehicle that may have left those tires, well, is they do two things. They talk to witnesses. Okay. There was a female police officer that actually drove by that location that evening and recalls seeing an SUV type vehicle in the field to the north of Jessica Lloyd's house, consistent with a Pathfinder. Okay. Could maybe consistent with other things, but consistent with a Pathfinder.
And then he gives him the whole, like, maybe we like, I just want to be friends for now. Oh, Pathfinder could be a consistent thing, you know, like just the whole kind of like hands up kind of thing. Keep him on, keep feeding him that bait.
And they, what they also do to try and identify the type of the vehicle is they look at what they call the wheelbase width. Okay, because
And now he's going,
different makes, models.
and this is the whole thing where he's going back to cooling the temperature down again. So, like, just like taking his time to explain the whole process of this is how we do our methodology and all this kind of shit. Because he's just basically hit him with the whole thing of like tire tracks. Like, we have the tire tracks at our house. We have a witness that'll be able to confirm that it's your fucking car.
Have wheelbase width, so they can take those two sets of tire tracks, measure the distance between them, okay, and determine what the width is.
Wax on,
and
wax
then they can
off,
enter that
baby.
into a vehicle database, and it will spit out the types of vehicles. Okay, your Pathfinder's wheelbase width is very, very close to the width of the tires that were left in that field. Okay. Do you have any recollection at all of being off that road?
I was not off the road, no.
Okay. All right. Russell, is there anything you can think of? Let's go talk about Marie France Como for a minute, okay?
Mhm.
Is there any reason at all you can think of that during our investigation, obviously we're searching computers, things like Blackberries, right? Electronic devices, looking through houses for things that are in handwriting, written notes, diaries, things like that. Now, I'm not at liberty to tell you what the content was, but is there any reason at all you can think of why Marie France Como would have specifically referenced you in some of her writings?
Not at all.
No?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Is there anything that she ever said to you that led you to believe that there might be something more than a passing interest with her towards you?
Not at all. No, we spent, one flight together talking. I'd go back occasionally and talk. No, if that's the case, that's very surprising.
Okay. All right. You have any questions for me right now?
No.
Okay. I'm just going to step out and see how things are going, okay?
Okay.
I mean, it is a Sunday, but there's probably 60, 70 people working on this file, so there's a lot of things happening.
Sure.
So let me go out and see what's happening, and then I'll come back in and we'll hopefully continue, okay?
And again, this is what we see now. Unfortunately, like it cuts the footage. But I would have loved to see what this dude was actually, his body language would have been like in that kind of period where it's like, and masterclass here by the detective, like this whole thing of like using silence as a weapon, like just kind of like you basically kind of like not outright accused them and all this kind of shit and laid everything out yet, but you have kind of like turned the heat up to the point where it's like, we have the tire tracks at our house that are the same tire tracks of your tires. We have a witness that was saying it was the same type of car of your car. And then he left them with this whole thing of, and the victim was talking about you and your thing. And now I'm just going to let it stew. I'm just going to let that ferment. You know what I mean? It's beautiful. It's fucking beautiful. You know what I mean?
I told you when I came in here that I'm going to treat you with respect, and I've asked you to do the same for me. We talked about the whole idea of how we've approached you here, okay? The trying to be as discreet as possible, okay? But the problem is, Russell, is every time I walk out of this room, there's another issue that comes up, okay? And it's not issues that point away from you, it's issues that point at you, okay? And I want you to see what I mean, all right? This is the footwear impression of the person who approached the rear of Jessica Lloyd's house on the evening of the 28th and 29th of January.
Yeah.
Okay? All right? Now, I want you to keep in mind that this is slightly smaller, okay, in scale. Okay?
Okay.
All right? That's not to scale. The footwear is actually bigger.
Okay.
If you look here on the ruler, you'll see that 1 inch is just slightly smaller than an actual inch. Okay, but this is the way it.
And again, he's basically loading up the chamber again, getting ready to load the chamber. But again, just like do this whole thing of just like I'm just gonna like meticulously explain like who gives a fuck whether or not it's the scale, but it's important to do that. Do you know what I mean? You want to draw this out and then hit him with the bullet.
Prints off on the computer. Yeah. I'm gonna move this over so you can see what I mean. All right. But essentially, when you're dealing with footwear impressions, we have a gentleman on the OPP who's basically world renowned. His name is John Norman, and essentially with footwear impressions, you're in a situation where you're pretty much in the area of fingerprints. Okay. And essentially, what we're talking about here is, especially when you start adding in other pieces of information that support an investigative position.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a photocopy of the boot that you took off your foot just a little while ago. Okay. Now, I'm not an expert in footwear impressions, so I rely on the experts. Footwear impressions are very much like fingerprint comparisons. Okay, you take a look at this print, and again, this is one print. This person walked through. There's several different prints to compare, so we're going to get features off of one print to compare, features off another print to compare.
Yeah.
These are identical. Okay, your vehicle drove up the side of Jessica Lloyd's house. Your boots walked to the back of Jessica Lloyd's house on the evening of the 28th and 29th of January. Okay, you want discretion. We need to have some honesty, okay? Because this is getting out of control really fast, Russell.
Now notice, like he's basically just like laid out like before, even before this, like with the whole build up and all this kind of stuff, like with the it's like it's your blueprint. And Duke couldn't say shit. This is why we have the Andrew Wilson premium meme. Truth silences these lying motherfuckers. He has nothing to say. You know what I mean? And like Vince is saying, I'm shocked he didn't refuse to participate and just ask for a lawyer. This could be like, think about it, gentlemen, right? You're in that mindset where it's like you're the guilty party. You don't want to give the man anything, but you want to appear as though you're friendly. Like he's already committed to that avenue. And at any point when he says, "I want a lawyer," you're basically screaming at them to say, "This is like a pressure point, or this is like the main point that you should focus on and drill down on." You know what I mean? So like at that point, whatever point it would be, whatever question they posed, and you say, "Fuck this," like lawyer and all this kind of shit, you're basically kind of saying, yeah, dig more in depth in terms of these pieces of evidence. You know what I mean? You know?
Okay, really, really fast. This is getting beyond my control. All right, I came in here a few hours ago and I called you the way I called you today because I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt. But you and I both know you were at Jessica Lloyd's house, and I need to know why.
I don't know what to say. It's
Well, you need to explain it because this is the other problem we're having, Russell. Okay?
And like the pressure's already mounted to the point where it's like this dude can't even think of a lie to state. Right? And all we really have is like the tire impressions and the the footprint. Now the footprint is, like I said, kind of like the wear and tear from the shoes. You can even like get like the gate and all this kind of stuff. But notice before, when like he initially asked about the tire impression, he was like, "Oh well, they're a popular brand." You know what I mean? The dealer told me like it's a popular tire, like everybody uses them apparently, and all this kind of stuff. He's not even able to draw back to that because he's completely like think of like in a boxing match when like when one boxer just like gets that right connection. It might not even be like a full blown haymaker, but it just hits him at the right place. Maybe it's like the like it just gets the head to wobble that bit, and now all of a sudden they're dazed, they're confused, they're literally shook. You know what I mean? And they're finding it hard to even kind of like find their feet and all this kind of stuff. That's basically where this dude is mentally, and this is why, like I said, this detective, masterclass right here, boys.
Again, these decisions are made by me. Right now, there's a search warrant being executed at your residence in Ottawa. Okay? So your wife now knows.
Yeah, no. Like this is now he's going to get into the ground and pound. He's just going to keep layering it on until this dude breaks.
What's going on? There's a search warrant being executed at your residence in Tweed, and your vehicle's been seized. Okay. You and I both know they're going to find evidence that links you to these situations. Okay. You and I both know that the unknown offender male DNA on Marie Transcomo's body is going to be matched to you, quite possibly before the evening's over. Okay? This is a major investigation. The Center of Forensic Science is on call 24 hours a day helping us with this.
Playing on his fear, but one thing I do want to point out is, why do the police always have shit technology? The microphone in that room is dog shit. I'm just saying. I think Ferrer pointed it out earlier on, all this kind of shit. Microphone technology, like, especially in the calls as well. Like, anytime you hear, like, one of, like, the dispatch calls, like, you know what I mean? I can't make out shit. You know what I mean? But regardless, now he's, like, playing on the fear. He's like, we both know this is gonna, like, and even mention, like, we have an expert and all this kind of stuff that's coming in. Gonna be able to mash this all stuff. Just play on what's already in this, like, dude's head. All these fears that's in this dude's head. You're playing into the whole thing. It's almost like you're reading this dude's mind. You know, one thing, that's a good point for her. But still, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I suppose. But you'd think that maybe, like, I suppose, yeah, because if they already bought the technology or the microphone, let's say, and then they're testing, they're like, oh shit, it's dog shit. Do they have the funding to go out and get a new one and all this kind of thing? Fair point for here. Fair points. Support the boys in blue.
Your opportunity to take some control here and to have some explanation that anybody is going to believe is quickly expiring.
And like I said, this whole thing of, like, this dude is shook. Mentally, he's like that boxer that's like, boxer is still standing up, but he can barely, like, his knees are wobbling and all this kind of stuff. And notice the detective saying is, you want some control, like that life raft off, like, you can take some control back here. We can get ahead of this. I'm your buddy, guy. I'm your friend, guy.
Okay. We're applying, the investigators now applying for a warrant to search your office. All right, these aren't decisions that we can say yes or no to. This is the practical steps in an investigation like this. And Russell, listen to me for a second, okay? And that evidence.
And notice, one sec. He's there, like, looking at the thing, and no, before, like, he was like, Russell, and then he paused. Right? and he just let him look at it, and look at his body movement. Look at the head. He's basically like waving his head side to side and saying no. And this is when the detective comes back in, and then again starts layering on that whole fear aspect and say, "Listen, I'm your buddy, guy."
Russell, listen to me for a second, okay? When that evidence comes in, when that DNA match, when that phone rings and somebody knocks on this door, your credibility is gone, okay? Because this is how credibility works, all right? And I know you're an intelligent person and you probably don't need to hear this explanation, but I also know your mind's racing right now, okay? Because I've sat across a lot of people in your position over the years, okay? The bottom line is that as soon as we get that piece of evidence that solidifies it, DNA, okay? As soon as the expert in footwear impressions, the expert in tire impressions calls and says, yes, I've examined those and they're a match, it's all over. Because as soon as that happens, where's your credibility? Where's your believability? You're just another, and again, don't take this wrong, okay? But you can see if you step outside this room in your mind and imagine how people are going to view you, okay? If the truth comes out after the clear evidence is presented to you, when you finally go, okay, I'm screwed now. What are we gonna?
I notice like that again, like that's the whole kind of like bait kind of game to it, because it's like if you do have your, sorry, it's kind of like a bluff more so, because if you do have like this expert and you do have me and all this evidence is on me and all this kind of shit, you know what I mean? Why would you even be talking to me? You know, you just say, yeah, hands up. Let me put the cuffs on. You're going to jail. You're going to jail, Russell. And we're shaving that fucking thing off the top of your head. Why the fuck is there a circle for a hairline? What's going on here, Russell? You know what I mean? Everybody in chat has mentioned the hairline. What the fuck is going on here? But regardless, that's the thing that, and the fact that he says, like, I know your mind is racing and like playing into this whole aspect as well. Masterclass by this detective here.
Do? Russell, you know there's only one option. What other option is there?
What's the option?
Well, I don't think you want the cold-blooded psychopath option. I might be wrong. Okay, because don't get me wrong, I've met guys who actually kind of enjoyed the notoriety, got off on it, got off on having that label. Bernardo being one of them. I don't see that in you. If I saw that in you, I wouldn't be back in here talking to you, quite frankly.
Again, beautifully done, kind of like basically saying, like, listen, you don't talk to me, we don't get this confession. You know how that media is. Look at what they done to Trump. You know? They say all sorts of bullshit about Trump. Do you really want people saying that you're a psychopath and all this kind of shit? It could be brutal for you, Russell. You know? You know? Yeah, and so I don't see that in you. I'm your buddy, guy. I'm your pal, friend. We can get, like, this whole, like, we aspect, we can get out ahead of this. This detective is like, he's like Marco Rubio. He's got a secondary job as like a PR manager. You know what I mean? He's not even acting like a detective at this stage. He's more so like a PR manager at the moment. He's like, listen, I can sort some of this shit out, guy. You know what I mean? I'm your buddy, guy. We can get the right phrasing here. We can use the right terminology. I can use rhetoric, bruh. I'll use the right rhetoric. You know what I mean? You're still going to jail. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's only one option here. But You know what I'm saying? We can play around with the terminologies. I know a lot of lefties that are good at that shit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We can use a lot of these equivocation fallacies.
But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you got me fooled. I don't know. This is over. And it can have a bad ending where Jessica's parents continue to wonder where her daughter's lying. And I don't know. I mean, obviously, there's a huge search still underway, and it'll continue. It'll continue until her body's found. That might even happen tonight, for all I know. Once that happens, then I don't know what other cards you would have to play. So what are we going to do?
I think what I would have done personally, just the whole armchair quarterback kind of like aspect, I would have pulled the chair over right beside him. You know what I mean? So we're kind of like sitting right next to each other and saying, "Listen, come on, bro, come on," because he's right on the edge. He's right on the edge at the moment. He's just sitting there. He's got nothing to say. Arms are crossed. He's all defensive and shit. You need to go over him to him like a puppy and just like give him an old pat and say, "Come on, bro. Let's get out ahead of this. I'll be a PR manager." You know what I'm saying? And like I said, but we'll see how it plays out.
Russell, what are we going to do?
Call me Russ, please.
Okay. What are we going to do, Russ?
Another thing he could have done here is like play on the whole thing that he's in the military. Try to like play like a bit of an honor angle, kind of say, "Yo, listen, like you're an honorable guy, you know. Let's go out and be honest, you know."
Is Jessica somewhere we can find her easily? Like, is this something where I can make a call and tell somebody to go to a location and they're going to find her, or is this something where we have to go and take a walk? Which direction are we heading in here? Russ, maybe this would help. Can you tell me what the issue is you're struggling with?
Brilliant question.
What's the issue you're struggling with?
That's where I think the one critique I'd have on the detective so far here is that it's like, just let him sit there and fucking, do you know what I mean? Because like the question itself is like, just like, what are you struggling with here? I mean, what are we waiting for? Like that kind of type question. You know what I mean? And then just sit there and just look at him. Dave, like, what lie are you going to think up? What lie are you going to think up? He's already drilled down the whole thing. I've got your footprint. I've got your car tire. I've got a witness that put your car there at the scene at the time. Do you know what I mean? That's what I like. That's what I would have been. The angle I would have came at. It's like, you know, Russ, what? Someone stole your shoes, and then stole your car, and then start doing all this shit. Come on, Russ. Come on. Also, Russ, shave off the fucking circle hairline. What the fuck's going on with the top of your head?
It's hard to believe this is not.
Okay, now, see, and this is why the silence is beautiful. This is why the whole, like, you don't want to overplay it. Use silence as a weapon. Do you know what I mean? Now we start, it's like, it's hard to believe I'm in this situation. You know what I mean? Where, again, you kind of see where it's like, oh, it's hard to believe, like, that could go either way. Is he going to try to go down the whole Lion Avenue and all this kind of shit? We'll see how it plays out.
Why is that? Why is it hard to believe?
It's just hard to believe.
Whose decision was it? And we're going to find out the answer to this anyway. But whose decision was it to issue the directive to the base personnel that nobody had to speak to the police and to seek legal counsel before they were questioned? It's my
I
understanding.
don't think that was.
My understanding, that direction came from somebody that reports to you. What do you think they're going to say, Russ?
No.
What do you think they're going to say? All right, and let's step back for a second here, okay? I really don't think it benefits you or makes you look any better to start debating the little issues,
No, no,
okay?
but that is news to me.
Okay,
I have a legal officer that reports to me
yeah,
who may have given that direction, but
okay.
that's the first time I've heard it. If that's true, that's the first time I've heard that.
All right, and that may be the case, but how does it look? Right? We're not even dealing with something that's really even evidence, because it's not needed. I mean, when you
No, no,
have,
but
when you
that-
have DNA and all this other stuff, that's not even
What
really
was the
an issue.
direction?
I don't recall, but it was something along the lines of telling the people on the base that they weren't required legally to speak with police, and they should seek legal counsel before they decide to speak. But
Well, if that was actually said, it would not have been to the base at large. It may have been to the individual, the boyfriend who is the suspect.
okay, my understanding, it went out to all personnel.
No, absolutely.
Maybe no, only under your command. I don't know.
It didn't.
Okay, okay, that's
I
fine.
did never see it.
That's fine. Now let's get back to the issue. What's that?
So you talk about perception. My only two immediate concerns from a perception perspective are what my wife must be going through right now
Yeah.
and the impact this is going to have on the Canadian Forces.
Where do we go?
This is where it's like, listen, bro. If you tell me the truth, if you be honest with me, we can get out ahead of this. This is where you have to like be like a pseudo kind of like we were saying, PR manager. You know what I mean? Don't worry. I've got a good way of rhetoric and all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But the main thing now, Russ, is just getting it off your chest. I can see it with you, Russ. You're balled up in the corner. You know what I mean? This shit's been eating at you. Better just to get the truth out of the way now. You know what I mean? And you're a military guy. You have a sense of honor. You know what I'm saying? Let's just get the honesty out of the way. And like I said, the whole kind of like how we explain it and all this kind of stuff, we can cross that bridge together. Whatever bullshit you need to say as a detective to get this motherfucker to go in on this and just tell the truth. You know what I mean?
Chris, is there anything you want from me? Is there anything you want me to explain? Is there something missing that you're struggling with?
That's what I say. This is the critique I have for detective. At this point, you basically have to kind of like just play on his mindset where it's like, Russ, there ain't gonna be no lie you're gonna be able to think about here. We got you. There ain't no lies. There's no path out of this. We got you. There's no way you can explain this. You know what I mean? Extra honey bun is real. Hey, what can I say? Honest, Teriak, you need to look up the E4 Mafia, my friend. That's what I'm saying for real. You got to tell them what they want to hear. You know what I'm saying? You got to play the whole buddy. I'm your PR manager. All this kind of shit. You know what I mean? Which is credit to the detectives. Because we seen it last week as well. I highly recommend you go watch last week's episode. Like those detectives, like especially the female detective, she played a blinder. You know what I mean?
Shed some light on for you.
I'm struggling with how upset my wife is right now.
Russ, what are you looking for?
I'm concerned that they're tearing apart my wife's brand new house.
So am I. But if nobody tells them what's there and what's not, they don't have any choice. Computers have been brought to Microsoft in California. They'll be picked apart. You can't erase things from computers. It doesn't happen. I'm sure you've seen that. I'm sure that's pretty common knowledge these days. It just doesn't happen. They sell programs that to try and help people clean their computers of stuff, and our guys are pulling that stuff out all the time. The FBI is pulling that stuff out all the time. This investigation will end up costing no less than $10 million. Easy. And they will say no to nothing. Any request this major case manager makes on this case, they've already been told it's approved. Don't even bother asking. So what am I doing, Russ? I put my best foot forward here for you, bud. I really have. I don't know what else to do to make you understand the impact of what's happening here. Do we talk?
I want to minimize the impact on my wife.
So do I.
So how do we do that?
Well, we start by telling the truth.
Okay.
Okay. So where is she?
Now this is why you probably need a character like me in the room, okay? Because I would have been like the Loki type character. I'm like, nah, fuck him. He doesn't deserve the easy way out. I hope you don't tell us where the body is, Russ. I'm gonna make sure I fucking ransack that house. I'm gonna paint you off as the worst fucking goddamn psychopath that ever lived in this village or ever will live in this village. By the time I'm done with you in the media, like your whole family name will have to fucking move down to Mexico. Fuck, like even America will fucking know about you, you psychopathic cunt. I mean, you need like that aspect to it. You know what I mean? Because then all of a sudden you're like, oh fuck, you know, the whole like, you know, nice guy, goody two shoes detective kind of aspect here. And again, shout out to this detective. He does play a good game. You know what I mean? But like having that other aspect, you know, all of a sudden it's like, oh fuck, it's like the Donald Trump kind of thing. It's like, oh fuck, this guy's a madman. He's not only going to ruin my life in Canada, he's going to ruin my life in America too. You know what I mean?
Get him out.
Is she close to where she lives? I've got maps of that general area. Which town is she near? Why don't we start there?
I'm not sure if you give me a map of that covers Calabar down to the highway and over to Tweed and south. I'll show you.
Let me see what I got here. I might have something. Is she inside, outside? probably the biggest area I have there, Russ.
Yeah, you need more. You need a real map.
So where am I going on here to get to her?
In this block here.
Okay. So you're pointing to.
A detailed map of that area, and I'll show you where she is.
Okay. Is she close to a road?
Yep.
All right. Is it something where is she buried, or is she somewhere where if you walk there you would fairly easily see her?
It's here.
Okay. So she's south of 7, east of Tweed,
Mhm.
west of 41.
Mm-hmm.
And what's this road here?
Not sure.
Neither am I. Okay. I'll be right back, okay? Do you want any water or anything?
Sure.
Okay, I'll be right back. How long has she been there for?
A little over a week.
Was it fairly quick from the time she left?
Friday night.
Friday night?
Yeah.
So where was she between Thursday night and Friday night?
In Tweed.
With you?
Yeah.
How long was she alive for?
Almost 24 hours, not quite.
Okay. Russ? You're doing the right thing here. Okay.
Well, again, my interest is in making my wife's life a little easier.
There it is,
And
boys.
her family as
There
well.
it is.
Well, we share that
But
interest.
there's no, your time in Ottawa is wasted, really. I'll tell you where the memory stick cards are.
Where are they?
They're in the house there, but
In Ottawa?
yeah.
Whereabouts?
Some in the camera bag, which they would have found in my office.
Mm-hmm.
And when you walk into the office on the left side, there's a desk of drawers, set
Okay.
of drawers, like a filing cabinet, wooden, IKEA. In one of the top 2 drawers, and there's a plastic divider,
Yeah.
and there's inside there are 2 memory cards,
Okay.
which are blank, but I'm sure they can be
And whose images are on those cards?
well, I've erased them, but I expect you'll be able to draw images of Jessica and I.
What about Marie?
There may be images on there as well.
And the 2 women from September?
Yep.
Okay. Do you have those images stored anywhere else?
Yeah, there are 2 hard drives in the house in Ottawa. I can draw you a little picture if you like.
Sure. Do you want to do that now while I'm
Sure.
getting them out? Okay. You want anything to eat or anything? Leave that with you. Okay.
Now, bear in mind as well, again, props to the detective. Like, this dude's like military. He's like a colonel, I believe. I think. One second, let me double check. Yeah, he's a colonel. So he would have, this dude would have went under like training to make sure that he doesn't crack under pressure and all this kind of stuff. So props to the detective. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's why I like I said, like I do these series like where it's like you shout out the boys in the blue. Shout out the justice. Shout out the police department. You know what I'm saying? No, he doesn't. I would have assumed, at least in terms of maybe not the base level of it. He's a desk jockey. No, he's a decorated colonel and base commander. Don't tell me Canada is decorating desk jockeys for their thing. We're thinking of sergeant majors. Hey, like I said, I'm not too apt in terms of the military, but I would have assumed there would have been some sort of training in terms of, like, because you never know in terms of like secrets and all this kind of stuff in terms of military intel, all this kind of shit. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is.
But I do want to talk to you again.
That's the plan. Okay. I'll be right back. Can you make it up there? Thank you. Can you make it up? Somebody running around looking for an actual map, but I did the same thing with the Google Maps. Just have to load them up a little bit more. This is the biggest of the area. Well, this might have better parameters for you. Here's tweet.
.7 kilometers from this intersection on the side of the road.
And what road is that? Cary? South of, can't read that word. East Hungerford? Does that make sense? Oh, there it is there. Okay. How far off the road is she?
40 feet.
Is she covered with anything?
She's wrapped up.
In
She's
what?
on the surface. Just a gray something or other cover.
Okay. Barry, the obvious question I'm going to have for you is, when they go there, and they'll be there shortly, they're going to find her?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'll be right back. You look like you want to say something.
Just that this place, my wife, it's been a dream for the better part of a year, so I'm keen to get them what they need and so they can leave her alone.
Okay. Well, we're going to do our best to keep that as low key as possible, okay? What do you want to talk about?
It's pretty wide open now. Eh?
Yeah.
What do you want to know?
Well, do you want to work forwards or backwards?
Doesn't matter.
Why don't we start with Jessica?
And yeah, Blue, don't worry, I got lots of cases to pull from. Like I said, this one's kind of going to be a relatively like short episode because there wasn't much in terms of like documentation or like video footage we could review. Like last week's one, we had like the whole body cam. We had multiple body cam footages that we went through, and we're kind of like we struggled to actually fit it all into like the typical kind of 6 hours and all this kind of stuff. Like with this one, we only really had like this interrogation footage that we go through, but like trust me, we got plenty to go through, you know. Gaz says, and to think he almost got away with it too. If it wasn't for those tire tracks, footprints, body language, not having a lawyer, and most of all, the bad haircut. Exactly. This dude has a circle hairline. It's not circular, a circle for a hairline. That's the most damning piece of evidence. You know what I mean? Take one look at this cunt. Yeah, guilty. You know what I mean? If I was the judge, just all I would have done is just look at his hairline going, bro, you're going to jail. That's a crime against fashion. You know? Also, morning, Abe. Welcome in, El Presidente. You know? He should get 10 years tacked on for his hair patch. Come on, guys. Come on. Fy favore. You know? I say give him the chair, the barber chair. Put him. I do love the puns. I do love the puns. You know what I'm saying? How's it going, Galligates? Galligates? Not really sure what you mean here, Steelborn. I'm pretty sure that's hate speech, I guess. Oh, barber chair. Yeah, 100%. 100%. You gotta have the memes. You gotta have the memes, as they say, you know. Welcome in, Steelborn. And the rest is pushed back. The fuck does that happen? Not exactly. Exactly. You know what I mean? The most fucked up part though is like I think the detective here has like a ball patch at the back of his head. So like we could like, you know, take the circle from this dude's hairline and then put it at the back of this dude's hairline. And at least one of them has a decent haircut. You know?
How does that start for you?
I saw her in her house on her treadmill. Wednesday night, I guess. Then I noticed she wasn't there Thursday. So I got into the house to look around.
We do love the Jim Bob memes around here, Steelborn.
Machiwa, Reggie. Machiwa.
Machiwa to you, Steelborn. Machiwa. Now, if I see someone with this hair, I'm going to think this serial killer. Bro, only serial killers would have this fucking bad of a fashion sense. Like, who the fuck thinks that this is a good idea? It's ridiculous. This dude has, like, the Adolf Hitler hairline. Is this hairline common? I've seriously never seen before. Same here, Shante. Same here.
Then, and they left. Noticed she'd come home. So I went back in. Through the back patio door. While she was sleeping.
Okay.
So I woke her up. Didn't hit her. She only hit her once. Friday night.
Okay.
Well, so I raped her in her house, and then I took her to the car and took her to Tweed. And spent the day in Tweed. And then I hit her as we were walking. She thought we were leaving. Hit her on the back of the head.
Okay.
No, he said he took her to Tweed. And then as they're leaving, he hit her on the back of the head and killed her. So it was basically a rape, murder kind of situation. You know what I mean? But fuck, bro. Holy shit. Like, this is where I genuinely believe that there is a connection to like bad fashion sense and like a bad soul. You know? Like, I know we've been memeing about the hairline and all this kind of shit, but like I genuinely believe that like people that like this whole aspect of like beauty. You know what I mean? Like beauty being objective and all this kind of stuff. That like people who cannot recognize objective beauty would not be able to recognize objective truth, would not be able to recognize objective morality. You know? I don't know. It's a hunch. Like I said, I don't got no evidence or nothing like that. But when you look at like all these fuckers at the Met Gala and in Hollywood and all this kind of shit, I'm just saying, you know, like look at all the trans people and their fucked up fashion sense and all this kind of shit, you know? I'm just saying, maybe there's something to it. Vigilante nam deome demonia in medio nostro sunt. Again, my Latin's ain't great, but let me know if that was good enough, chatter. Chatter says, I can't stand these people. Want to pretend to struggle to get words out, but damn sure didn't struggle to commit the acts. 100%, Shante. 100%. I was like, that's an odd way to start a dinner date. God damn. God damn. No, but like it's like a pattern you see against like serial criminals. They'll like start off kind of like minor or whatever. So like typically with like serial killers, like there'd be like a history of like abusing animals, then like killing animals, and then like it escalates to people kind of thing. Same way here with this dude. It was like some weird sick like fetish type shit where like he was like putting on like women's underwear and all this. Like that's why you initially start breaking in, like putting on women's clothes and all this kind of shit. And then it kind of like escalated to the rape, and then the whole thing of like after that it's like to try and cover up the fact that he raped her, he killed her kind of thing, you know. I don't entirely disagree. They often tend to have a look to them. 100%. And that's why I keep like pointing to like these uggos. Like the whole trans thing can be classified as just a bunch of fucking ugly cunts. You know what I mean? And if that trend follows, you know, Hollywood is you know. And not obviously all of them. You know what I mean? But most. Well over the majority, you know? Yeah, I know, kid that shows the signs. He seemed to normal out once he became a teen, but I'm still not ruling him out. 100% Shante. Get the old forensic skills or FBI skills, you know? Shante's on the case, gentlemen.
Particular?
Well, what did the hit on the back of the head do?
Well, I was surprised that her skull gave way. She was there and immediately unconscious. And I strangled her.
Okay. What did you hit her with?
Flashlight.
Okay. In the house or outside the house?
In the house. Yeah, they'll find signs of that.
Where in the house did this happen?
In the main portion, just in front of the fireplace.
What do you mean they'll find signs of it?
Oh, there's quite a bit of blood. I'd expected to knock her out. But obviously generated a lot of blood.
What did she bleed onto?
The floor. It's just tile floor.
Okay. Did you clean it up or did you?
I wiped it up. I know it'll be easily spotted.
What makes you think that? Like, if I walked in that house right now, would I see
You
it?
wouldn't see it, not at all, but, you know, the right signs will show it, I'm sure.
Okay. So when that happened, did she have clothes on or was she naked?
She was dressed.
Okay. So when we find her, is she gonna have those clothes on too?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Marie France Como.
There was an open window in the basement of her house when she was away. I went in there a couple of nights before she came home. Looked around. I went back in there late at night when she was at home. She was on the phone in her bedroom. She actually discovered me in the basement. She was trying to get her cat to come upstairs, and the cat was in the basement, had seen me and was fixated on me in the corner. She couldn't get the cat up, so she came downstairs to try and get the cat, and I'm not sure why she came over to me. I guess the cat was staring at me, and she was wondering what the cat was staring at. The lights were on. So when she spotted me, I had the same flashlight. I subdued her. Tied her up. Brought her upstairs. Strangled her later in the morning. Well, more suffocated her. Some tape. Left her there.
How did you subdue her? When you say subdued her in the basement, what did you do?
Well, I had the same flashlight, and you know, she saw me right away. So it was just I hit her a couple of times and around her head, try and knock her out. Didn't, but she was bleeding a little bit. Eventually, after a struggle, subdued her.
Okay. Any blood from that struggle?
Oh yeah. No, not a whole bunch, but a flashlight did break her skin a couple of times.
Okay. What area of the basement did that take place in?
I was hiding behind the furnace, so she spotted me right there.
Okay. Did she recognize you?
No, I had stuff on my face.
Okay. So you go upstairs, and you said she suffocated?
Like, how can you, like, and again, this is props to the detective, but how can you think of questions to ask these cunts when you're hearing, like, all this fucked up shit? You know what I mean? Like, I'd just be roasting the cunt. That's why I'd be like a consulting detective. I don't think I'd be able to sit in the room with these cunts. You know, I'd be like Dart. I'd just be like, yeah, ask him this question, all this kind of shit. I'd be behind the fucking the mirror. Well, that's the cliche thing, but like I'd fucking, oh man, This is fucking sickness.
Well, I suffocated her. I put tape on her. I put tape on her mouth, and then I put tape on her nose and held it there so she couldn't breathe.
What kind of tape was it?
13.
What happened to it?
Well, I took it with me and can't remember what actually I did with that tape, but probably threw it in the garbage.
Did you use tape for any other purposes?
No.
Okay. Did she ever recognize you through this whole episode?
No.
What did you say you had on your face?
Just a cover for my head, just a sports pullover type, like just a little cap kind of thing.
Okay.
Just a lycra or something, and just a headband over my nose and mouth, so it covered most everything but my eyes.
Okay. Now this flashlight, where is that now?
And tweed.
In the house?
Yeah.
What kind of flashlight is it?
It's a red 3 double D. I'm not sure what brand it is, but it's a metal, one of these aluminum. It's like a big, I can't remember what brand of aircraft aluminum flashlights already still are. Anyway, it's a bigger one of those.
Did you take anything out of Marie France's house or Jessica Lloyd's house?
Yeah, some of their underwear.
Okay.
That's all.
And where is that?
It's in some boxes in the basement here in Ottawa, in that rec room. So we just moved in, so there are boxes everywhere. So on the same side as the furnished room, sort of in the back against the wall.
Okay. What do the other boxes look like?
I think one's a scanner, the box for my scanner.
Mm-hmm.
They're all right next to each other, so a quick look through the boxes there will find it.
Okay. How much underwear is in those boxes?
Probably 60 pieces or so. Total.
All women's?
Yeah, 60 pieces of theirs.
Of whose?
Of Jessica's and Marie France.
So you took 60 pieces from between the two of them?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
All right. And they're in like when you talk about a scanner, is it a computer scanner box?
My computer scanner is up in the office, and its box is down in the basement, so
Okay.
it's inside that box.
What I don't understand though is why the fuck do you not just like buy women's panties? Like they have department stores. Do you know what I mean? Like why are you breaking into people's houses and doing all this fucked up shit? Oh my god, man. This is sick.
Does any of the underwear in those boxes belong to anyone other than Marie France or Jessica?
Yeah, there's some from each of the other two women.
Okay. Why don't we talk about those two women?
Mm.
So the first one, happened on the 16th, and I don't know why, I can't recall their names, but the lady that was lived closer to you.
No, Lori was closer to me.
Okay.
So the first one, I had just spotted her from our boat, actually. I got into the house while she was asleep. Noticed that she was alone. And just hit her with my hand while she was sleeping. Subdued her. Mostly just my weight on top of her. Had her take off her pajamas. Took some pictures. Took some of her underwear and left.
And the other woman?
Same kind of deal. Running through the back of the house. She was sleeping in her, not in her bedroom, but in her, in front of the TV. Very much the same story.
Anything different about that story? I mean, pretty much the same story and exactly the same story, or two different things, right?
Yeah, no, not much different at all. I did have the flashlight. That time I hit her with a flashlight. Didn't think it would knock her out. Did. So, and I subdued her with my weight. Took off her clothes, took some pictures, and left.
Why do you think these things happen? Have you spent much time thinking about that?
About why?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know the answers. And I'm pretty sure the answers don't matter.
Well, let me ask you this: did you like or dislike these women?
I didn't know any of them.
What? Like, oh my god, man. Oh my god. What you mean the answers don't fucking matter, bro? Oh my god. I feel exactly the same way, Shante. I feel exactly the same way. Yeah, chatter demons are in our midst. Like, the answers do matter. Maybe if he had a fucking, like, question why the fuck he even had the thoughts in the first place, he wouldn't end up killing two women. Unbelievable.
Okay.
I had met Maddie France that one time in our airplane.
Okay. No, I guess when you're going through these things, are you? Well, let's talk about Jessica, because she was there with you for the whole day, right?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of feelings were you experiencing while you were with her that day?
Oh, she was a very nice girl.
Can you tell me why you killed her? Right. Do you know why you killed her?
Well, I think I killed her because I knew that her story would be recognized.
Her story would be recognized? How do you mean?
Well, because she knew I was taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So because of the two stories in Tweed, that would have been a fairly, yeah, been quite obvious.
So if you didn't take pictures, what would you have done with her?
I don't know.
I mean, she's at your house, right? Well, let me ask you this. Is it 2 lived, right? And 2 died. What was the difference in your mind between?
Well, the attention the first 2 got was very much focused on, obviously, or for obvious reasons, pictures I took. So anybody else telling stories about pictures, right, would have been a fairly straight line.
Okay. But when this thing happened with Marie France, did you believe that you were already a suspect for what happened in Tweed?
No.
So what were you concerned about?
Well, because I was pretty sure that she was serving military, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would have been difficult for investigators to ignore that connection.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Let's go back to Jessica then. Okay. You see her on the Wednesday night. Okay. On her treadmill.
Mm.
How do you see her?
She was in the basement, window wide open, on a treadmill. So I drove by.
Okay. Did you stop to look at the house, or how does that catch your eye as you drive by?
Well, I was looking to see who was where. Don't know that area very well, so I was just keeping my eyes open.
Okay. So you spot her on the Wednesday.
Yeah.
Do you just keep on going, or did you just stop and take a closer look that
No.
night or anything? No?
I kept going.
Okay. And you went back on the Thursday night, right?
Yep.
So you go back on the Thursday night, and you went into the house before she came home?
Yeah, she was out.
Okay.
Done with those. Yeah, she was out. Got in through the kitchen window. It's unlocked. Everything else was locked.
Okay. So you're in there doing what?
Looking around to see who lived in the house. It was just her.
Okay. And then what do you do?
while I left the house. And then she came home. I hadn't been out of the house very long. So I watched for a little bit to see if she was alone. She was. And I went in when she went back to sleep. Went to sleep.
So you go in, she's sleeping, and what do?
Well, I snuck up to the side of her bed, expecting to try to knock her out. She woke up, but she did as I said. So I didn't hit her.
What did you say?
Just lie down on your tummy.
Okay.
She did. I tied her up.
What'd you tie her up with?
Some rope I brought.
So she's on her stomach. How are you tying her up?
Just tying her hands behind her back.
Okay. She got clothes on at that point?
Mhm.
What kind of clothes?
Sweats.
All right. You tie her hands behind her back, and then what happens?
I took her clothes off.
Okay. And then what happened?
I raped her.
A rape can mean a lot of different things. What kind of sexual act took place?
Just, vaginal and oral.
Okay. Oral. Who was performing the oral sex?
No, me on her and her on me.
Okay. Any condoms used or anything like that?
No.
No. So there, and again, correct me if I'm wrong. Vaginal intercourse. Her performing oral sex on you, and you performing oral sex on her.
Mhm.
Do you remember what order those things occurred in?
Yeah. I started with the oral sex. Then I raped her. And then later on I made her perform oral sex on me.
Okay. Any kind of conversation happening when this is going on?
Yeah, a little bit.
What was being said?
Well, I threatened her before I had her perform oral sex.
What did you say?
Well, I put a zip tie around her neck. I said,
Bro, this
that I would
cunt
pull
should
if I
be
liked
swinging.
what, she would do.
Okay. So she did what you told her to do?
Mhm.
Any issues there? Any reason to pull it?
No.
So, do you remember if you ejaculated at that point? Or at any point?
Not at that point, but later on.
Okay. So, the oral sex finishes, and then what happens next?
Well, I continued to rape her, and I had her put on some of her underwear. Took some pictures, lots of pictures.
Oh my god, bruh.
And then got her dressed, walked back to the truck.
Okay. At what point did you decide that she was going to leave with you?
This is what I'm saying, man. Like I used to be against the death penalty. I used to be against the death penalty, but now I'm just like, bro, fuck this shit. Oh my god, man. And I'm thinking, like, in modern day, we have more sympathy for the criminals than we do to the victims. That's how bad the situation is. If you go back to, like, Founding Fathers days, like, bro, this fucking, just get the rope. Unbelievable. I can't sit through it, you know what I mean? Fuck this shit. Fucking hell. Hard to watch is an understatement, Picasso. It's a fucking understatement. But there's pictures there. I'm not going to show them, but there's basically pictures of him in the like wearing all the fucking shit, the lingerie and all this kind of shit. Cunt a fucking weirdo. Deserves everything that's coming to him. And then some. But let's close out the show because holy shit. Like I said, next week will be longer. I'm going to prioritize the cases where it's like we can have like the body cam and all this kind of stuff. This one, like I said, it was a pretty straightforward one, but it's a well-known one. You're probably seeing in chat as well. A lot of people saying, "Oh, this cunt" and all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? There's spiritual war going on out there. This guy's a Baphomet, bro. Like I said, make the death penalty great again. That's all I can say. That's all I can really say, you know? 100% for it. And Abe and Steelman, if you want to go live, whatever, because I don't think there's anyone live at the moment to raid into. So if one of you want to go live for an impromptu stream, and I can redirect into you. I'm not sure I've ever seen this guy. No, I've seen like from like the YouTube channels of just like interrogation footage, just analyzing like detective strategies and all this kind of stuff. So I have seen like this dude, but like I never watched the actual full interrogation video. But like I said, man, this cunt should be swinging. Well, anyways, and now, my dear companions, the veil lifts. The small clues we have meticulously examined, well, at least the detective went through. The tire threads that matched the only one vehicle, the boot prints in the snow that aligned with specific pair. With the specific pair of footwear and the DNA and forensic links that refuse to be ignored, all point to a single shocking truth. And again, shout out to the detective where he masterfully built into it. And like I said, just kind of hit him with the whole kind of like, oh shucks, buddy, and all this kind of shit. And then, like I said, kind of just like piled all basically hit him with the tire threads and kind of like dance with him a bit in terms of like like mention the thing, and then basically went tire threads, boot prints, DNA. You're fucked, bro. The man at the center of this investigation, the decorated colonel and base commander who appeared so cooperative, is the architect of a horrifying crime spree. His name is David Russell Williams, a high-ranking officer in the Royal Canadian Air Force, pilot to prime ministers and royalty. That makes a lot of sense. Commander of CFB Trenton and seemingly a model husband. Yet behind this polished exterior lurked a predator who escalated from fetish burglaries to sexual assaults and ultimately cold-blooded murder. Here's the complete chronological story as pieced together from the evidence, interrogation, confession, and court-accepted facts. The escalation, which was the 2007-2009 period. Beginning in 2009, near his cottage in Tweed, Ontario, Williams began a series of fetish break-ins, over 80 documented home invasions. He would enter homes while occupants slept or were away, photographed himself in stolen lingerie and underwear, and often leave the items arranged in degrading poses. He targeted women's bedrooms, including that of a 12-year-old girl living next to his cottage. Bro, and he was a pilot. Oh my God, man. The Epstein files make so much sense now. He was a pilot to prime ministers and royalty. These sick motherfuckers. He documented everything meticulously with his camera. No violence at first, just theft and photography. But this is a whole kind of like thing that we see play out with a lot of these like serial criminals. They always like start off small and it always escalates, you know? There are actual demons out there. By 2009, the crimes escalated in New Orleans and Belleville areas near his Ottawa home and the base. Similar break-ins continued. He became bolder, sometimes standing naked in backyards, staring through windows. First murder was Corporal Marie France Comel. On November 25th, 2009, Williams broke into the home of Corporal Marie France Comel, a military flight attendant stationed at CFB Trenton, who had flown with him. He waited for her to return home, attacked her as she entered, bound her, and videotaped and photographed the prolonged sexual assault. He begged for her life repeatedly. "I don't want to die." He struck her on the head, then strangled her. He left her body posed and took extensive photos and video. The second murder on January 28th to 29th, 2010, Williams targeted 27-year-old Jessica Lloyd in her rural home near Belleville. He broke in, assaulted her over many hours, videotaped the rape, then drove her to his cottage on Cozy Cove Lane. There, he continued the assault before striking her on the head and strangling her. He disposed of her body in a remote area. The investigation and arrest. Police linked the crimes through consistent patterns, similar break-in methods, stolen lingerie, and crucially, tire tracks and boot prints left at Jessica Lloyd's home. A roadside checkpoint identified the vehicle matching the tire impressions, the owner, the base commander himself. On February 7, 2010, Williams was brought in for questioning at Ottawa Police Headquarters. He arrived calm in uniform, asserting his authority. Detective Sergeant Jim Smith conducted one of the most masterful interrogations on record, building rapport, presenting forensic evidence piece by piece, tire threads, footprints as we've seen, and leaving the room periodically to receive updates from simultaneous searches of Williams' properties. During the search, police found hundreds of pairs of stolen women's underwear, a hidden cache in the basement ceiling containing 2 external hard drives with nearly 3,000 photographs and hours of video, meticulously organized and labeled with dates and victim details, including the full recordings of the assaults and murders. Oh my God, man. Unbelievable. In the interrogation, Williams initially denied everything. When confronted with the tire and boot evidence, he began to crack. Eventually, he confessed in chilling detail, describing the assaults, the videos he recorded, and how he killed both women. He even asked for a map to show where Jessica Lloyd's body was hidden. The motif in psychology. Williams confessed with clinical detachment. No deep remorse emerged. Because like I said, even the pose he's showing there, it seems like he's pissed off. You know what I mean? He's just pissed off that he's caught. He described the acts in a matter-of-fact terms. The crime stemmed from long escalating sexual fetish, voyeurism, fetishism, and sadism that progressed to violence when the thrill of burglary was no longer enough. His high status and access to military personnel made victims vulnerable. The resolution. Williams pleaded guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of sexual assault causing bodily harm, and dozens of break-in and enter and fetish-related charges. On October 21st, 2010, he was sentenced to 2 concurrent life sentences with no parole for 25 years, the maximum in Canada. Bro, oh my God, man. That cunt should be swinging. He was stripped of his rank and dishonorably discharged. My dear viewers, observe how the small clues betrayed him from the start. The tire tracks, boot prints at the crime scene matched only his vehicle and footwear. Footprints that would not lie. His calm, authoritative demeanor in early questioning was the dog that did not bark. Too controlled for an innocent man under suspicion. The meticulous documentation on hidden hard drives revealed a predator who catalogued his crimes like trophies. Like, that's what I'm saying. How the fuck can this cunt only get 25 years? When he recorded this shit. Oh my God, man. This is unbelievable. The pattern of break-ins near his cottage and home formed a trail only someone with intimate local knowledge could follow. Red herrings abounded early. That's why it took us so long, like 3 years essentially. But the red herrings abounded early. Local sex offenders, random strangers, possible military insiders with grudges. Yet the forensic evidence, tire threads, footprints, DNA links, and the digital cache eliminated them all. Holmes would have noted the officer's perfect alibi crumbling under precise questioning and the absence of any external intruder evidence. We walked the shadowy path together. One would say the demonic path. The deductionist files once again illuminated the darkness hiding behind the uniform of respectability. Next week we shall pursue another enigma, but we'll have to wait and see until we get to it. Until then, observe carefully, question relentlessly, and remember, even the most decorated among us may cast the longest shadow. I'm Teriak signing off. Stay curious, stay sharp. The game is never truly over. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me tonight or today, depending on where you're from, depending on the time zone. Let me just give one more check to see if there's any. No one's live, so you can't stay here. You don't have to go home, folks, but you can't stay here. But we'll sign off with the same way we usually sign off, folks. Like I said, a lot of shit going on now in terms of the America specifically, in terms of regaining the sovereignty, and especially with the Iranian war and all this kind of stuff. But no matter what you hear about Donald Trump, he's doing God's work. Like I said, like Tucker Carlson kind of zones, they're going to be feeling the heat. Some say they may already be, but like I said, it's all on evidence, all on record. Anybody who turned their back on Trump, they will regret it. But ladies and gentlemen, we'll sign off like we usually do. God bless America. God bless Donald Trump. And I'll see you all tomorrow for a little bit of Wheel of Madness.
Why wouldn't you dedicate yourself to public service?
Because I think it's a very mean life. I would love and I would dedicate my life to this country, but I see it as being a mean life. And I also see it as somebody with strong views and somebody with the kind of views that are maybe a little bit unpopular, which may be right, but may be unpopular.
I am your voice. So to every parent who dreams for their child, and every child who dreams for their future, I say these words to you tonight. I am with you, I will fight for you, and I will win for you. We will make America strong again. We will make America safe again. And we